Welcome back to Nick Landis Comic Corner, classic, less known classics. This is episode number 2520 and episode number 2414. We're here reviewing Marvel Masterworks Marvel Team Up Volume 6, which contained issues 53 to 64 and the annual. There are three issues I'm not going to discuss here because, well, discussed them already. Those issues are 62 to 64. 62 was actually collected in, I believe it was the first Epic Collection, first or second Epic Collection for Miss Marvel, and 63 to 64 collected the Epic Collection for Iron Fist. The first couple issues has Spider-Man team with the Hulk take on the guy creature known as the Wood God. Yep. That's what he teams up over the course of these two issues. And it's a two-parter. Wood God is a character later pop in their book. Wood God is a character who made his debut in Marvel Premiere. He's a Bill Mansell character in Keith Giffen. Take on Major Del Tremens, who is a character also from the Wood God issues. Yeah, after he appeared in that book, he appeared in these two issues here and pop up in Incredible Hulk, and that was it for him. Yep. Yeah, I'll definitely talk about the... before I continue, the annual. The very first annual release for the series. This is basically Spider-Man Team of the X, by the way, the book is by Bill Mansell. They take on the Lords of Light and Darkness. A team who only appear for this one annual. Yeah, really fun annual. It's also sadly the last appearance of Stoneface Turner. Yeah, this was his last appearance. This was a character who would be his first appearance in Skull the Slayer. Yeah, this is a one-off return for the character, and, well, he stopped appearing after this. Yeah, so now talk about basically, yeah, it's strange to the fact that over 4 years into the title, we actually have an annual. Yes, an annual release a little over 2 years after the book came out. Actually, 4 years. About 4.5 years, the book comes out, now released an annual, first of 6. So, yeah, I'll talk more about that in just a minute. So, after the team with him for a couple issues, then we have Spider-Man team up with Adam Warlock, along with a character known as the Gardener. Yep. To take on the Stranger. Yes. Who last appeared back in Avengers Annual number 7. And his next appearance will be in Champions 12. Yeah, and the story itself will continue in Avengers Annual number 7. And apparently this book picks up right where the last issue of Warlock left off. Which I'll talk more about Warlock. By the way, it's written by Bill Mansell. Let's talk the Warlock issue. Let's see. The Warlock issue was done by Jim Starlin. Yeah, it's a bit weird. I've already talked about the Avengers Annual, so I'm going to go straight to issue 56. We got Spider-Man and Daredevil team up taking Electro and Blizzard. A Iron Man villain who last appeared back in Iron Man 87, next appears Iron Man 123. Electro last appeared in Omega number 3. His next appearance will be in Avengers 63. And who does this book? Bill Mansell. I think Bill Mansell does a lot of these issues. Let's see. Let me take a look here about this one here. Now, how many issues does he do of Marvel Team Up? Marvel Team Up, he's here into issue 56. At 56, he has to come back to the book in issue 72. Yep, so 56 is his last issue for a while. And then issue 57, you have Amazing Spider-Man and the Black Widow take on the Silver Samurai, who last appeared in Daredevil 111. His next appearance will be in Marvel Team Up 74. In 58, teams up with Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider, who last appeared in 24 of his own book, and next appears in Champions. They take on the Trapster. Yep. And then we had the very next issue of Spider-Man teams up with Yellowjacket and the Wasp for 2 issues. They take on Equinox, who last appeared in Marvel Team 123. His next appearance will be in the very next issue. And at one point, Yellow Jacket apparently died, but he came back, no problem. He would next appear in Mark Presents 147. You think, wait, 147? Yeah, his next appearance would not be till 17 years later. And finally, issue 61, it's Spider-Man Human Torch taking on Super Skrull. I believe this was the first time that Spider-Man teamed with the Human Torch in a while in the book. Let's see, last time he teamed up with him, let's see, this is issue number 61. The last time in this book they teamed up together was back in, let's see, they did the first 3 issues, I know that for sure. Issue 10. I'm looking at basically what was last time the team went together. The last time they team up was, wow, it actually was issue 10. Yep, that's pretty much in the way where it was last time they teamed up, actually. Yep. And this issue, 61, is done by Chris Claremont, who was writing Ms. Marvel at that point. And Chris Claremont had basically taken over from Bill Mantlo with issue number 57. Yep. But really good issues. Love them. Give them a 10 out of 10. Alright, next up we have is the final 12 issues of Spider-Woman. Yes. We're at the end of Spider-Woman. Yeah, there's no Marvel Masterworks this time. Just basically just a regular book. So you have Spider-Man take on Morgan Le Fay. And we have a character named Deathstroke. You're thinking, wait, isn't that a DC character? Yeah, this is a complete unrelated character. Yeah, after this one-off appearance, next appearance in Captain America where he gets killed off. Yep. Morgan Le Fay, for some reason, becomes like a recurring villain in this very book for reasons unknown to me. Yeah, where she's like, she came back in the book as a book early on, then she came back to the book for some of the majority of the remaining issues. She's here for 3 straight issues, and comes back for 2 more after that, and that's it for her. And we also have to take on Flying Tiger, a character who's not that known of a villain. Yeah, I'll take on General Naguya Nakikoi, who made his first appearance in Martin 100. And he is a character who, well, has an association not that one. Yeah, he has association with Karma of the New Mutants. Yep. His previous appearance was actually in Martin 100. His next appearance will be issue 46 of this very book. Morgan Le Fay would next appear in the next issue of the book. Or just Morgan Le Fay and the Quest of Evolution of King Arthur. This guy also got a David Ishmael appearance in issue 42. Yeah, he's, well, another one of Jessica Drew's love interest. Yeah, he came in the book in issue 37. He's here pretty much to the very end of the book. And then he pops up in the X-Men after this. Yes, seriously. Yeah, then we have her taking on the Silver Samurai. Ugh. Yeah. Silver Samurai and Viper in issue 42, which is amazing. By the way, Silver Samurai previously appeared in Martin 85, which we'll discuss later on, and he'll appear in the very next issue. He will next appear in New Mutants number 5. Viper will next appear in the very next issue. Team Morgan Le Fay, Viper, and Cthulhu. Cthulhu next appear in Doctor Strange Sorcerer Supreme number 90, which, by the way, that came out 14 years later. Yeah. Cthulhu last appeared back in Avengers 87, which came out just a few years prior to this. So, yeah, he makes his return like 14 years later. It is interesting, though, that toward the end of the book, we have to have Silver Sam become a recurring villain for, well, Spider-Woman. And then we have the Impossible Woman appear in the book. And Impossible Man. Impossible Man last appeared in Marvel 2/186. So the Impossible Woman. Her next appearance is in Impossible Man Summification #1, was released in 1990. And Impossible Man next appearance in number 7. And then we have Spider-Woman take on the Kingpin of Crime himself in issue 46. Who last appeared in issue 70 Peter Parker's Circle Spider-Man. His next appearance being Daredevil 90. My only guess is the reason why they had these two Spider-Woman take on the Kingpin of Crime. This was the first time these two ever met each other. My guess is because she's a spider character, how about the Kingpin of Crime? Just like how Spider-Man 7 5 constantly, Daredevil, so why not? Why not Spider-Woman? Of course, he also made a guest appearance in Moon Knight. By the way, we're actually in the early 80s, these issues. Yes, we're at 1982 mostly. Bill Foster himself makes a guest appearance in issue 47. He previously appeared back in March 1985. His next appearance being March 1986. Or basically take on a character named Digger, who previously appeared in Cambridge Darkness number 3. That came out in 1970. Yeah. 12 years prior to this. And his next appearance would be in 1987, roughly 5 years later. Daddy Longlegs will reappear again in issue 50. 48 has teamed up with Wear Up by Night. And we have... Is this the first appearance of this character? Let's see. No. Basically, we have a return of Gypsy Moth, who became Skin in modern day. Her previous appearance was back in Contest of Champions #1. Her next appearance will be in the final issue of this very book. Yep. And then the penultimate issue. Spider-Woman teams up with Tigra, who previously appeared in 125 of Marvel Team Up. Her next appearance will be the following issue. Also, first appearance regarding Poltergeist. Yeah. This ghost, who's a mutant. And he appeared 6 times. Yeah, he appeared in the final 2 issues of this very book. And then he returned Beauty and the Beast. And that was it for the guy. Yes. And now moving on to the final issue of Spider-Woman. Where a really cool cover by Elliot R. Brown and Bob Larkin. Where it's basically Gypsy Moth in the book. It's basically the way Spider-Woman's goodbye, because she almost nearly dies at the end of this book. It's her basically versus a bunch of villains. Anger the Screamer, Daddy Longleg, Gypsy Moth, Flying Tiger, Enforcer, Hangman, Killer Strike, Needle, Nakira, Timmerdillion, Morgan Le Fay apparently dies in this book, and Locksmith. Yeah. Of course, Spider-Woman herself would next appear in Avengers 240, where she's in a coma for a couple issues, then she gets out of the coma, but she's been depowered. Yep. She has been depowered. Yet for some reason, Roger Stern thought it would be a good idea to wrap up some loose ends for this book. Yeah, to wrap up loose ends for the Spider-Woman book. Because right after the book got canceled, like after appearing, after the end of the book, she appeared in that storyline for Avengers. After issue 42, she appeared very sporadically. Like, she was like a recurring character in the Marvel Comics universe after the book wrapped up. Like, after appearing in Avengers, she was the first issue of Avengers Coast, Doctor Strange. She apparently appeared in a Spider-Man UK annual. I think this was like an original story. Yeah, no claim of reprint per se, just Spider-Man UK annual. Okay. Beauty and the Beast, a couple of X Men. Basically, some annuals. At one point, she became a recurring character, a supporting character in Wolverine. So issue 2 of Wolverine Volume 2, and she was there until issue 16. Came back for a couple issues. And most of which she's been very sporadic, but no powers. Until apparently in the mid-2000s, she apparently got her powers back, became part of the Avengers, but that Spider-Woman was not real to her, but revealed to be a Skrull posing as her for about 5 years. Actually, about 3 years posing as her, and then she came back, eventually joined the Avengers in number 48. Now, in case you're curious, though, not long after she returned, she did have another brief series, which I'll talk about in the future. She's had a couple volumes since that short run came out. She actually has a current book publishing right now, but this is the end of the very first volume for Spider-Woman. A really good volume. By the way, the issues give a 9 out of 10. Sorry about that. My nose gets stuff here. This volume overall was really, really good. Yep. Not a bad issue this whole series. Just a really fun series. It's a shame the book got canceled in issue 50. And it's just by sheer coincidence, around the same person this book gets canceled, we get the cancellation of Ghost Rider around the same time as this book. Yeah, that's just by sheer coincidence. I think also the early 80s saw the cancellation of this book, where by night, Moon Knight ended. It seems like any book that started in the 70s basically ended in the early 80s, which is really weird. Yeah, so you have this book, Ghost Rider, Moon Knight. Moon Knight technically did have a run that started in the 80s, but not very long. Yeah, it seems like the first half of the 80s was not a very good time for some books. Like, if you're not one of the big characters, your books won't survive. At all. Not really. Defenders, surprisingly, was one of those few books that survived the early part of the 80s and managed to get to the mid-80s. Yes, the mid part. Yeah, they managed to last those Secret Wars too, and then the book got canceled. But it seemed like the 80s, for like I mentioned, some books basically did really well in the 80s. Some did not. This is one of them. It's surprising how far it lasted for. And here's a fun fact that might surprise you. This is the first and only volume of Spider-Woman to date to be this length. 50 issues. Some might be asking, what is, overall, out of all the volumes of Spider-Woman, if this is the longest, what is the second longest? The second longest is volume 6. The previous volume that ended, I think it was just a couple of years ago. I think it was last year ended at 21 issues. Yeah, that was second longest. Of all the books released, that was second longest. Third longest was Spider-Man Volume 3 at 18 issues. If you want to think of the shortest, that was an actual volume per se. Until this current volume published right now, which I believe this one's going to last for 5 issues. I think the shortest volume overall is Volume 2, which is 4 issues. I've discussed that already, so the next time I talk about Spider-Woman will be Volume 3. That next time I talk about it. I personally love this book. It is interesting, though, they put good writers in this book, but... And here's something I surprised about Spider-Woman. Did you know she also had a briefly cartoon when the series was publishing? Yeah, a cartoon that lasted for like 1 year and got canceled after like 20 or so episodes. Yeah, thought that was quite interesting that a character was fairly new at this point in time. And when she made her debut, she was a villain for Nick Fury. And my guess is some people liked the character so much they gave her own spin-off book. And like I mentioned when I first started reviewing this book, that originally, like if you read the book early on, her outfit was not didn't have like a long hair in the back. That was a change. And originally she was not raven hair. She was actually brunette. She dyed her hair black at the start of the series. And if you read this book, you can see how her costume is put on, where there's a zipper in the back, obviously, and she slips in that way. And also this book, the one thing that you can say that's negative about this book is the fact that Spider-Man went through 2 different boyfriends in this book. The first one was a slightly older guy who had white in his hair, and that one was basically a guy around his age. But one thing I think is quite bad about this book is that there are some characters making debut in this book which are still around this very day. But Spider-Woman has got this problem where Marvel just can't settle a love interest for her at all. Like, can't have a guy involved in her life for reasons completely unknown. but yet it was okay for her to have a child back in 2015. Yeah, but can't have a guy in her life. No, had to be single and hot. Be single for no reason. I also do believe that breaking her up with the boyfriend who was second porcupine at that point in time, I think that was a bad idea. I still think it was a bad idea. Do I think that's what killed the book? No. That book didn't get killed because she broke up with Porcupine. Latest book brought back Lenz McCabe. Yes, who debuted in this very book and stayed with Spider-Woman as her best friend for years. Yep. And she was even brought back for the previous volume, which was fantastic. I like the fact that she did that. But I did like the fact that we had to remove Porcupine to bring back Lindsay McCabe, who was brought in as Gary Drew's babysitter, a stunt woman, to be a babysitter for this for a kid who's the son of one of the most popular female superheroes of recent time. I mean, do I think that Spider-Woman is as popular as for female characters as popular as Carol Danvers? I don't know per se, because Marvel does not push her as much as Carol Danvers. Though at least Carol actually appears. Here's the thing about Carol. Carol, that's more of a recent time thing where Carol is like her best friend. Yeah, where she appears constantly throughout her recent volumes as a supporting character, as a guest star. And Spider-Man does the same thing in Carol's most recent book, where she was a guest star in her book too, because these two are really close. Spider-Woman herself doesn't have many best friends. Her two closest friends are Carol Danvers, Liz, and McCabe. I'd say probably the only character who's close to her, who's kind of like a friend, I'd say a male friend, is maybe Spider-Man. But he doesn't really appear in the book very much, so that's the only problem. And there's a joke that someone brought up, though, that she actually dated Spider-Man once. He went on one date with him, and it was and after one time, they never dated again. You know, there's even a what-if comic where Spider-Woman married Spider-Man. Yes, seriously. And plus, one thing I also gotta love with this book is the logo. I love the logo, and the fact that when Marvel keeps bringing the character back, they occasionally use this very font. I love this font. Do I think her current book should be ongoing? Yes, definitely, because this is my personal. I think that ending her previous volume was a mistake on Marvel's part. Yes, I definitely think it was a big mistake, because that book was good. There was no bad issue to the whole book. There was no reason the book to end at all. Like, could it have been low sales? Possibly. But who knows? But I'm talking about the book altogether. But this book, really good. Check it out. I kind of wish Marvel would do an Epic Collection this one. Did it for Lara character. I think they did it for Iron Fist. So, why not Spider-Woman? Like, here's the thing. If you want to find this run and trade, guess where you can find it? There is the Essential Books, obviously, which collect the whole volume in 2 books. And there's the Marvel Masterworks, which collects most of this volume, but not the entirety of it per se. No. There's actually, these final 12 issues are not collected in the Marvel Masterworks at all. Not that I can think of, no. There's about 4 of them, as far as I can tell, which collect the whole book. Yes. But yeah, that's pretty much it, particular view. Next up, Jujutsu Kaisen, and then we have one more comic corner, and then basically I'll have anime after. Okay, next video.